This video is going to look at ions, knowing the charges and the formulae for different ions. This is one of the first building blocks to being able to make a balanced symbol equation. So first of all, for simple ions, you can find the charge of the ion just from its position on the periodic table. So if we started with group 1, this is group 1 because all of the elements in this group have got one electron in their outer shell. If they've got one electron in their outer shell, then they're going to lose that one electron because they want their full outer shell. And if you lose one electron, you're losing something negative, so it becomes more positive. So these will have a charge of 1+. For example, sodium will become Na+. Don't need to write 1+. If you just write Na+, it means Na1+. Because it's lost one electron. So then group 2 all have 2 electrons in their outer shell, and they will all lose 2 electrons to form an ion that has got a charge of 2+. So for example, magnesium would become Mg2+. Number, then charge, Mg2+. Just missing these ones for a moment. If we go to group 3, these will lose 3 electrons and now become 3+ ions. So for example, aluminium will be Al, 3+. So all the metals have formed positive ions, and we call these cations. If we go to the other end, at group 0 or group 8, these already have a full outer shell. So they're not going to lose or gain electrons. So we don't need to worry about those at all. We can just ignore them for now. Group 7 have got 7 electrons in their outer shell. They want a full outer shell of 8 electrons, so they're going to gain 1 electron. If you gain 1 electron, you become 1 negative. So these have a 1- charge. Common example, chlorine will lose 1 electron and become Cl-. Again, don't need to put the 1. Just Cl- tells us it's Cl1-. We call that the chloride ion. Oxygen is in group 6. Group 6, so it's got 6 electrons in its outer shell. It's going to gain 2 to get its full outer shell of 8 electrons. So group 6 will become 2- and oxygen will be O2-. We call that the oxide ion. Group 5 need to gain 3 electrons to get their full outer shell. So nitrogen would become N3-, we call that nitride. And then group 4 we're going to ignore for now as well because they don't tend to get involved in making ions. So that's what we need to know. Just very briefly, going back to this block here, these are called the transition metals. And the interesting thing about the transition metals is they can form ions with different positive charges. They are metals, so they will have positive charges. So for example, iron, Fe, could be Fe2+, and it can also make Fe3+. And we can find out from the name. So the name is often written with a number in Roman numerals, and that tells us that for iron oxide, if it's got 3 in Roman numerals, the iron ions are Fe3+. So metals make positive cations, non-metals will gain electrons and make negative ions, and we call those anions. That is it for simple ions. Just use your periodic table to tell you. The other thing is polyatomic ions. Polyatomic means more than one atom. So these are ions that have got more than one atom. There's no way of working these out, you just need to learn them. The reason I know them is because I've memorised them. There's just 5 that you need to know. First one, hydroxide. The name tells us it's got oxygen and hydrogen in it. So the formula is OH. You need to know that the charge is minus, just 1-. You also need to know sulfate is SO4 with a charge of 2-. From the name, sulf tells us it's got sulfur in it, and 8 means it's got oxygen in it. So nitrate, the next one, we know it's going to have nitrogen and oxygen. You need to know that it's NO3 with a charge of 1-. carbonate, the name tells us, is going to have carbon and oxygen atoms. You need to know that it is CO3 with a charge of 2 minus. Last one is ammonium. Ammonium is the odd one out because all of these so far have been negative anions. Ammonium is the only positive cation, and you need to know that the formula of it is NH4 with a charge of 1+. Those ones, I'm afraid, you just have to learn.